There was once a young man named Arjun. From the outside, he seemed like someone who had everything going for him. He was intelligent, hardworking, and ambitious. People admired his potential. But inside, Arjun felt restless. His mind was never quiet. Every day, thoughts crowded his head like a marketplace filled with noise. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? He wanted to start his own business, but fear froze him. He wanted to speak in public, but doubt stole his voice. He wanted to be happy, but his restless mind never gave him peace. No matter what he tried, the noise inside only grew louder. And slowly, Arjun grew tired of carrying the weight of thoughts he could not control. One morning, when the burden felt too heavy, he remembered hearing about a wise teacher who lived high in the mountains. People said the teacher helped those who were lost find peace. With nothing left to lose, Arjun packed a small bag and began his journey. The road was long and difficult. He crossed rivers, climbed steep hills, and walked for days under the burning sun. At night, when he rested beneath the stars, his thoughts returned louder than ever. They told him he was wasting time. They told him he would not find answers. They told him he was destined to fail. But every morning, he rose again and kept walking. Step after step, he fought not against the road, but against his own mind. At last, after many days, Arjun reached a small wooden hut tucked into the quiet of the mountains. An old man with calm, kind eyes stood at the door. The teacher welcomed him warmly and asked, "Why have you come, my child?" Arjun lowered his head. "Master, my mind is always full. Full of worries, full of fears, full of doubts. I cannot focus. I cannot move forward. Please, teach me how to find peace." The teacher listened silently. Then, without a word, he picked up a teapot and poured Arjun a cup of tea. He kept pouring until the cup overflowed, spilling across the table. "Stop!" Arjun cried. "The cup is full. It cannot take any more." The teacher smiled and said, "Exactly. Your mind is like this cup, already full. Full of fear, full of doubt, full of noise. If you want to learn something new, if you want to live fully, you must first empty your mind." That night, Arjun sat beneath the stars and tried to do as the teacher said. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He tried to let his thoughts drift away like clouds moving across the sky. But the more he tried to push them away, the louder they became. His failures, his regrets, his insecurities, all of them came rushing back. Frustrated, he muttered, "This is impossible." The teacher, who had been watching quietly, said, "Do not fight your thoughts. Do not chase them away. Let them come and let them pass, just as a river carries leaves downstream. Your mind is not the leaves. Your mind is the river." Arjun listened. He tried again. This time, instead of resisting, he simply observed his thoughts. And slowly, very slowly, the storm inside him began to quiet. Days turned into weeks. Each morning, he practiced breathing, watching, and releasing. Some days were peaceful, and others were difficult. There were moments he wanted to give up. But the teacher reminded him, growth comes not in the easy days, but in the days you struggle and still continue. The teacher gave him tasks to strengthen his mind. One day, he handed Arjun a heavy bucket of water and asked him to walk up and down the hill without spilling it. At first, Arjun's mind filled with complaints. The bucket was too heavy, his arms ached, the hill was too steep. And as he thought, the water spilled. But the more he focused on the present moment, the weight of the bucket, the feel of the ground beneath his feet, the quieter his mind became. With a still mind, the water no longer spilled. The teacher said, "This is life. When your mind is crowded, you lose your balance. But when your mind is empty, even the heaviest burdens can be carried with ease." Another time, The teacher asked him to sit beside the river. The water flowed endlessly, carrying twigs and leaves downstream. "Do you see the river stop for any leaf?" the teacher asked. "Do you see it fight against them? It flows." The river teaches us, thoughts will come, but they do not stay. Let them pass, and you remain at peace. Little by little, Arjun's heart began to change. In the emptiness, he discovered clarity. In the silence, he found courage. He realized that his fears had only been shadows, loud, but powerless once he stopped feeding them. One evening, the teacher asked, "What have you discovered?" Arjun smiled. "I see now that my fears were only noise. When I let them go, I can hear my true voice. And my true voice is stronger than I ever imagined." Months later, Arjun returned home. But he was no longer the same man. His mind was lighter, calmer, clearer. He began the business he had once been too afraid to start. At first, he made mistakes. But instead of drowning in self-doubt, he learned and grew. He gave his first public speech. At the beginning, his hands shook. But he remembered to breathe, to empty his mind. And as he spoke, his voice grew steady, strong, and confident. People listened, not only to his words, but to the presence of someone who had found peace within. Friends asked him, "What is your secret?" And Arjun simply smiled and said, "I learned how to empty my mind." Years later, when Arjun had built a life filled with success and peace, he often shared his story with others. He told them, "We fill our minds with too much, too many fears, too many comparisons, too many doubts. But peace is not found by adding more. It is found by letting go. When your mind is empty, your heart can finally speak. And the heart always knows the way." So remember this. When life feels heavy and your mind feels crowded, do not try to think faster or harder. Instead, pause. Breathe. Let go. Empty your mind, and let life fill it with clarity, courage, and peace. Sometimes, the greatest wisdom is not in holding on, but in learning to release. Empty your mind and discover who you truly are.